Hey there, team. My name's Miles,
And I'm Ben.
and we're here to chat to you about some cocktails. We work for Black Pineapple Co., the drinks experts. We basically specialize in anything relating to the word cocktail. And today, we're here to chat to you about some of our tips and tricks for trade cocktails and how to execute them with speed, efficiency, and really make them fun.
So we've got 3 steps of service that we're going to run through. The first one is about ordering, getting the right order for the right customer and the right amount of orders all at once. The second one will be what we call the build, which is how we make the drinks, a specific order to use. It's going to make your life so much easier. And the third one is what we call the serve, which is how we present ourselves, how we give it to the customer, and how we really add that extra level of great experience that comes when you're ordering a $20 drink.
Yeah. The goal for today is to hopefully answer any FAQs, any frequently asked questions. Cocktails can often be a bit of a groaner or a pain point when you're bartending. All too often, I think when I started, people would ask for a cocktail and I'd be knowing I'm gonna have to reach for 5 different bottles going, oh shoot, why do I have to make an espresso martini? The goal for today is with us and our team's 40 years of cumulative bar experience to try to eliminate all of those groaner points and make cocktails something that's really fun and approachable. If for whatever reason you have questions lingering after this, please do not hesitate to reach out to whoever your closest Black Pineapple point of contact is, whether that's myself, Ben, or Frankie. I'm sure you've got our cards and our details.
You'll have one of these.
Yeah.
Use it.
Easy, team. Let's get started.
Let's do it. So let's chat about some bar kit. Starting with the real basics. This is what we call a batch bottle. It's what we like to put all of our pre-mixed cocktail in. Glass is always looking really nice in front of a customer. Yours will have some sexy labels on it, which mine is missing, forgive me. And on the top here, we've got what we call a free pourer or nip pourer. The only real difference is nip pourers are those ones that turn off after a shot. These ones will keep going forever because you're gonna pour a lot more than one shot when you're pouring pre-made cocktail. Speaking of pouring cocktail, you're gonna need to measure it with something. Anything that you measure liquids with in the bar world is usually referred to as a jigger. This is the one that we like to use because it's large enough so that you can pour anywhere between 30 mils and 180 mils. And when we're using pre-batch, like I said before, we're going to be larger pours. You would have seen some other jiggers like these. And these ones are great, but again, this is only 75 mil. This is 30 and 60 mil. So they can be good when you're putting individual cocktails together, but they take lots of time, lots of rinsing and reusing. So we like to use just a larger jigger off the bat. Next on our list, we've got bar spoons. Now, bar spoons aren't just long, tall, and spinny because they look cool. They actually do serve a purpose. There's 2 key methods for using bar spoons. The first is stirring, and that's when you'll see somebody give it that real cool flash bartender stir. We're moving it around like that. We only really stir stuff when we don't want to upset the liquid, things like Negronis and stuff like that, where you just want a gentle stir. What we mostly do here at Black Pineapple is a method called lifting, which is where we put the spoon all the way to the bottom of the glass, we scoop up some ice with us, and we pull it as far up as we can without spilling anything. And that's going to really mix in all of our pre-mixed cocktail in the bottom of our glass with all of our soda or ginger ale or whatever's on the top of it, mix it all together really fast. So that we can smash those drinks out and get on to the next one. Speaking of glassware, there's a few main types of glassware. This is a stemmed wine glass. Typically, stemmed wine glasses serve drinks that have ice and mixer in them. So you'll, like our Italian rhubarb spritz, where you'll have a cocktail base and then a soda on top, which is very similar to our highball glass and what that does. The key difference here, usually the rule of thumb is if the cocktail's got wine in it, it's nice to put it in a stemmed wine glass, otherwise it goes in a highball. You'll also see glasses like this, which are called coupes or coupettes. Lots of you might also have V-shaped martini glasses, throwback to the 80s. They serve a very similar purpose. What we're going to put in these is any drink that we call straight up, which means it's not served over any ice, it's just the liquid in the glass. So you'll see us serve espresso martinis and things like that in coupes. Next, we've got our rocks glass, our large one. We use this really for any drink that's shaken and then served over ice. So like our margaritas, maybe a Cosmo on the rocks. Because those shaken drinks have more liquid in them, you need a slightly bigger glass once you top it all up with ice to make sure the glass is nice and full. Conversely, if you're serving something like a Negroni, which is lower in volume, rather than only giving a customer a glass that's half full because there's not as much liquid in that drink, we give them a smaller glass so it's still nice and full, so it never looks like you're serving somebody half a cocktail. On to the exciting stuff. So, this is our shaker, or our shaking tins. Now, we always use what's called a tin-on-tin shaker here at Black Pineapple. There's a few key reasons for that. Other things you might have seen would be one's metal, one's glass, or there's a middle one that's got 2 or 3 different parts to it that all click together. Those 3-part ones are really small and complicated and hard to get it open, so we don't like using those. And the glass ones are really heavy, and glass can break, and also glass doesn't conduct temperature as well as metal, and we want our drinks to be colder for longer, so we always use metal. If you don't have a shaker that looks like this, get one. So when we are using this shaker, we like to put all of our liquids in the small tin and all of our ice in the big tin. The main reason we do that is if we filled our big tin with liquid, it would spray everywhere. So we always fill our big tin with as much ice as we can to get that drink nice and cold without getting watery. And we fill our small tins with liquid. Typically no more than halfway is a good measure. Once we've got our liquid in here and our ice in here, we can pour it over the top, seal it. We want to seal it at a little bit of an angle, and we don't need to really pound the crap out of it. Just a gentle tap is fine. We pick it up and we're ready to shake. Now when we're shaking, we're always going to shake with the small side of the shaker towards our chest and the large side out. And we're going to turn ourselves away from our customers sitting on the front of the bar so that if we lose control of the shaker, because they can get quite slippery and wet, we're not going to smash anybody and give them a black eye or a broken collarbone. So we turn this way, we shake nice and hard. The only wrong thing you can do while shaking is to shake really slow and weak. So you give it a really good hard rip. Doesn't matter if you go around or if you go straight back and forth, as long as you're shaking really hard with enthusiasm, you'll be fine. Once the shaker is nice and frosty, which we'll cover when we make some shaken drinks, that's when it's ready to crack open. Now to crack it open, you want to hold your, the majority of your hand, your good hand, I'm right-handed, onto the bottom one like this, because this is the heaviest with all the liquid, and you're just going to control the top one with one finger so that when you smack it, it doesn't go flying off like that. So we're just going to hold onto it, and we're going to point the side towards us that's the most sealed, towards our body, and the side that's the least sealed, so the biggest gap away from us. We lift it up, we never smack it on the table, we lift it up, hold it in our hand like this, and we give it a firm tap with the palm of our hand on this side, and off it pops. Shakers will tighten when they're cold, so it'll be a little harder when it's cold, but you should never really have a bruised hand or anything like that. If it's not coming off easily, try readjusting your technique. To go along with the shaker, we also have what's called a strainer. This is a Hawthorne strainer. Because we're not using one of those ones with lots of different lids and parts with them built in because they're really annoying, we need this separately. So when we've finished and we've popped our shaker open, this has come off. Now this we can go get it in the sink, get rid of it, and all of our liquid and all of our ice is going to be in here. We have to get it into the glass. So we pop this guy on, spring side goes down, and we hold onto it like a little velociraptor, the Jurassic Park grip, and we pour like that, keeping all of our ice back and pouring all of our liquids out. If you're not confident with the one-handed grip or you've got small hands, you can use 2 hands. You just want to make sure this stays on and this tips upside down. And that's your basics of bar kit.
Hey there, team. This is Steps of Service, Part 1, the order. The order is really important because what it allows us to do is get the customer the right drink as fast as possible. One of the best tools for this is a cocktail menu. Cocktail menus are really great. Not only do they make our drinks look really sexy, approachable, and delicious, with some very pretty graphics and even prettier descriptors, but they also are a tool to get the customer to decide what they want before they even make it up to the bar. In a perfect world, they look at the menu, they see the mango chili margarita and go, oh, that looks delicious. They walk up to me and go, hey, I'd love a mango chili margarita. This is great. One key thing that I'd recommend off of that is to engage the customer. Go, oh, awesome. Do you like things that are spicy? And they might go, yeah, spicy, tropical, sweet, I love it. In which case, move on to the build. Your job's done. But there's a chance the customer might go, oh, is that actually pretty spicy? In which case, some red flags should go off in your brain. Maybe this drink isn't right for them. This gives us an opportunity to steer the customer towards the right drink for their time and their experience. What we like to say at Black Pineapple is if you're trying to convince the customer to maybe try something different that might be better for them, steer rather than stop. Stopping is, oh, mango chili margaritas are spicy. You don't want that. Try this instead. Creates a really negative atmosphere and makes them feel like there might be bad drinks on the menu, which the perfect drink for the wrong person is still going to be a terrible drink in their mind. What we want to do instead is basically use positive language. This customer says, oh, I'm not really sure if I like spicy. You go, oh, okay. Well, do you like something that's a bit more zesty? And they might go, oh, that sounds really nice. Maybe you steer them towards something like an Italian rhubarb spritz, something that's not spicy and is quite zesty and might be right for them. One of the key things to make sure that you are able to pair customers with the right drinks is take advantage of this training. We'll be trying all of the cocktails that should be on your menu. So do the best part of the job. Taste some delicious drinks. Get familiar with them, both for your enjoyment today, but also for the customer's enjoyment down the line. The last thing about the order is efficiency of workflow. All of us by the end of this training will be able to pump out cocktails like absolute bartending weapons. So one drink will be super easy. What we recommend is try to maximize your time. If this guy at the end of the bar says he wants a peach and papaya mojito, great. I have the option to just build it for him and serve it. But if I find out that the guy sitting next to him also wants a peach and papaya mojito, I could have made those at the same time and saved myself steps, but also them waiting time. My recommendation is this. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 people sitting at the bar, understand how many orders you might be able to retain in your brain. If you can do all 4, great. If you can do 3, great. Whatever works for you should be your capacity, but work to your capacity. I know I can take 4 orders, so I'm gonna go, hey, do you want a mojito? He goes, yes, awesome. What are you in the mood for? Mango chili margarita? Great. How about you? Italian rhubarb spritz? Perfect. I make all of these drinks at the same time. All of these customers first get a bigger, prettier show, but also they get their drinks all together faster, and it saves me time as well. Efficiency of service is a huge game changer for making cocktails not only a lovely spectacle, but also saving us as bartenders ease and time.
Alrighty, so steps of service, part 2/3, the build and the serve. Now, during this segment, I'm going to use a couple of words like uptown and downtown. I'll just explain those before we get into it. Whenever I say uptown, I mean up here on top of the bar where the customers can see us. And whenever I say downtown, I mean down here where they can't see what we're doing. Now, whenever we are putting anything in the customer's glass, it has to be uptown. It has to be in front of them. You never want to pay $20 for a cocktail and somebody's turning around putting something in and you're not really sure what's going on. You really want to make sure that anytime something's going in their glass, it's going in their glass in front of them. So, step 1 is getting all your glassware out. So for this order, this hypothetical, somebody's ordered a mango chili margarita, an Italian rhubarb spritz, and a pink gin sling. So we start with our glasses. Our Italian rhubarb spritz and our pink gin sling are both built, meaning all the liquid is going straight in the glass. But because the Italian rhubarb has some wine in it, we're going to serve it in a nice wine glass. And our mango chili margarita is shaken. It's going to go in a nice shaken big rocks glass. Now, typically we do glassware, then we pour all of our liquids, then we do all of our ice, and then we do all of our garnishes or straws at the end. However, there's a bit of an exception, which is why we're going to cover it here. The mango chili margarita has a salt rim, and we can't really put a salt rim on a glass once it's full of liquid and ice, because you've got to tip it upside down, right? So I'm going to do that first, but you'll see that I leave the rest of the garnish till last as usual. So step 1 of getting our glassware ready, because one's a mango chili margarita, I'm going to rim the glass. There's a couple of key things, key principles that we like to follow at Black Pineapple when rimming a glass. And we only ever rim half of the glass. The reason for that is during the order, when somebody's ordering and you want to make that as fast as possible, stopping to ask them the question of whether or not they want salt or not just takes more time. So instead, I'm just going to salt half of the glass, and if they don't want the salt, they can drink from the half that isn't salted. Problem solved. In essence of that, I'm also not going to tip it into some liquid and then tip it into some salt, because that's going to get it all on the inside and all over the total rim. So instead what we do is we take a little lemon or lime wedge or something that's going to wet the glass nicely, and we just put a nice square half line on the outside. Then we take it, we tip it into our salt here, and we just press the side that we've just made nice and wet up against the glass, and we end up with a real nice, perfect half salt rim, looks nice and sexy, and again, you can choose not to drink out of it. So we've got all of our glassware for our order right now. Now we need to pour all of our liquids. When it comes to pouring pre-batch cocktail, you just got to make sure that you do what we call shaking to wake. So give it a little bit of a go like this, and then when you tip it upside down to pour, it will mix as well. That's just to make sure that for this one, none of the mango is sitting at the bottom and all the tequila is at the top, and somebody gets all tequila and somebody gets all mango. We want to make sure that we're combining all of the ingredients again. So give it a little bit of a swirl, a little bit of a shake, and then we're going to pour. So when we're pouring into our jigger, these wine jiggers that we have this handy little window up the top here. So you can turn it towards you. You can see in the window when you're going to go up to 120. So we can pour like this. I can see in the window. This is the longest part of making this cocktail, by the way. That's how fast it is. We get to a nice 120 mils, job done. Now, because I don't have all the space in the world to have all my shakers up here, I'm actually going to build my shake and drink downtown. Now, because it's not going in the customer's glass, it's actually okay to do this part down here in my little hidey hole behind the bar. Job done. This jigger, we're not making any more mango chili margaritas, so I'm going to put this in the sink, and we move on to our next drink. This is going to be the pink gin sling. Again, I'm going to give it a little bit of a shake to wake, and then I'm going to pour it upside down. Now, if you're clever like I am, you can actually read the jigger from the inside, and then you don't have to hold it up to your face like this. So I'm just going to read the jigger from the inside and pour 90 mils. Now, don't worry too much about the numbers I'm telling you, because we'll cover that in another section that's a bit more specific to each drink. So focus more on the technique that I'm using. Again, I'm finished with this. It's going to go in the sink, and I'm going to take my third jigger to make my Italian rhubarb spritz. A little bit of a shake, I tip it upside down, and I'm going again to 90 mils. Nice. Now you can see that I haven't touched anything into the glasses, the customer's glasses that they haven't seen me do, which is the principle that we stick to. And now I'm going to go to step 3, which is to add all of my ice. Now the reason that we don't do this first is the second I put ice in a glass or in a shaking tin, it's going to start to melt. And when you go to shake it, there'll be a little bit of water in the shaker, or when you go to finish it, there's a little bit of water in the glass, and your drink is already watery before you've really got to the rest of it. So we always hold the ice for as long as we can, and then once we've put the ice in, we got to go. We got to do the rest real fast. So I'm going to ice my glasses. I can do this up here if I'm confident that I'm not going to spill any. Or I can take it over to the ice well as well. And anything that I spill will go straight back in. Now you notice the glass is really full of ice, maybe too full you might be thinking. It's going to drop down a little bit before we add the soda. And the more ice we have in the glass, the slower it's going to melt because the overall drink is colder. So we always want to put as much ice as we can into our cocktails. Last two things I'm going to ice is my shaker. And my glass for my margarita. Great, so now I've done all my bottles, I don't need to touch the bottles. I've done all my ice, I don't need to touch the ice well ever again. So I'm not going back and forth, grabbing the scoop off of someone else who's using it, trying to get back into the ice well. I've actually now got all my ice, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to start by shaking this. And I pour all of my liquid from the small one into the big one, close it in like that, and I give it that firm tap that we talked about. And I'm going to shake it. Now, you can't look good while you're shaking. Everybody has a shake face, so don't feel too bad. If I was working with another bartender and he wasn't doing anything, I would give it to him to shake maybe while I finish these. But since Miles is working the cameras and drinking a drink we made on a previous take that I ruined, I'm going to shake this one myself. So here we go. Nice. You see how I didn't have to shake for ages? I can actually feel it's done because it's kind of sticking to my hands a little bit. It's really frosty. If I pull it down here where you can see, I can actually draw lines in this. That's how cold it is. And that's perfect. That's right where we want it. So I crack it open like we talked about. One hand on the bottom here, a little finger to control. I smack it in the middle here. So the sealed side's towards me. The gap is away from me. I smack it in the middle and off it comes. There's no movie magic involved. It's just that easy. This is going to go in the sink because I'm done with this now. To join my jiggers. Now I'm going to grab my Hawthorne strainer, and like we talked about in the kit section, I'm going to put this spring side down onto my shaker here, and I'm going to pour. Because I'm pouring into the customer's glass, I'm doing that uptown. Give it a little jiggle, make sure we get all the drink out. I'm not going to overflow it too much. It's okay to hold a little bit back. And now this is done, so this is also going in the sink. At this point, if one person had ordered the margarita and a couple of other people were waiting for these, I might serve it straight to him. But in this scenario, all three of these are for the same customer. So I'm going to finish these off with a little touch of soda. And you'll see how already the ice is kind of looking like it's not too much already. Pour a bit of that in, go a little in here. If you've got your amount of ice right, you can kind of just pour all the way up to the top almost. And now I need to finish these off. So we talked about in the kit section about lifting versus stirring. And you'll notice that if I stir this, all of that white soda on the top is actually staying on the top. It's really not going to upset it and mix it like I want to. So that's where I'm going to do the lift. So I'm going to give this a real good zhuzh, as we like to say. Fill that up. I use a different spoon because it's a different drink. Now notice as I do this that I'm not holding the glass up here, I'm holding it by the stem, and that's what we call the 1/3, 2/3 rule. You never want to touch the top 2/3 of the glass because that's where the customer's going to put their lips, that's where they might want to touch it, that's for them. The bottom third of the glass is for us, so I'm always touching my highballs down here, and I'm touching my wine glasses on the stem. I'm never touching anywhere where they're going to end up drinking from, just a bit gross. Cool, so everything's done almost. I'm going to put some garnish in. Now for the rhubarb spritz, it's a nice little half wheel of orange here. And for the pink gin sling, it's going to be some boysenberries. And for this one, maybe the customer wanted a straw. The only quick rule to follow with straws is that you always want to tuck them behind the garnish nice and tight. That way, if you have something like some lovely fresh mint or anything like that, the smell of the garnish is going to really hit them when they go to put the straw into their mouth. And we're almost done. One key step here to remember is to present the drinks to the customer. So at this point, they know it's theirs. There's nothing worse than somebody taking a drink off you when you haven't finished garnishing it yet, or you make these and then you walk off and they're not sure whether they're ready yet or not. So we always go like this. Here you go, mate. That's for you. That's your Italian rhubarb spritz, your mango chili margarita, and your pink gin sling. Enjoy. The last step that we're going to do as the customer takes their drinks and walks off and they're super happy and they love us is what we call R&R. Unfortunately, in hospitality, R&R does not stand for rest and relaxation. That's not really a thing that we know in hospo. It stands for rinse and return. So all of that stuff that I've put in the sink as I was making my drinks, I'm now going to go and give that a quick rinse, wash that out, and I'm going to return it to exactly where it was when I started making them. You'll notice as I was making them that everything was really easy for me. It was on hand. It was ready to go. If I leave it all in the sink, then the next guy who comes along to make a drink is a bit stitched up, or if it's me myself, I've stitched myself up. So I'm going to rinse all of my stuff. I'm going to put it back on the bar where it belongs, ready to make the next round just as fast as that round. There's no movie magic involved in that. There's no, here's one I made earlier. That's literally how fast it is. Alrighty guys, welcome back. I promise this is the very, very last part. We're not trying to make this a big long lecture. There's a reason I dropped out of uni to make cocktails. And before we go any further, sorry about the beard. I actually got told off for not shaving today. We shot the rest of the videos a little earlier. So anyway, we just wanted to make sure before we go that we really hammer home the last 2 points that really this training is all about. And the first one is about knowing those flavors and knowing that menu. Like we said, the most perfectly made drink in the wrong person's hand is not going to be a good drink. So when you're tasting these drinks, remember, think of a friend. Oh, I know a guy who might like this. Why? Oh, is it because you like sweet stuff or strawberries or something like that? Boom, there's your flavor profile. You're never going to forget it. It's drilled into your brain. And the second thing along that vein is confidence. Yeah. You've got to be confident. You've got to know that when somebody orders something, you're not freaking out. You know where your stuff lives. You know where your shakers are. You know where your bottles are. You know what your steps you're doing. And in that vein,
we do have resources for you. Our goal with this training is to make you feel like you have ownership of these cocktails now. You've tried them all, you've made them all, you've made them in large quantities. You know the ins and outs of everything. So if a client comes up to you and asks, hey, can I have 6 cocktails? You know where to begin. But we do provide some security blankets. Oh, hopefully I don't drop them all over our bar. But these should have come with your cocktails. Please, please, please keep these on your bar. Not that you would need them by this point, but it's always nice to have that backup as a, oh, shoot, what's that one cocktail? You look at it, you see that one number, and you go, oh my God, that's right. These are just a nice little reminder. But on that, as we mentioned right at the beginning, don't hesitate to reach out. Obviously, like we said, you have our details. If you need to give us a text, say, what color's an espresso martini? We're here to be a resource in any capacity. Just let us know.
Awesome. And prior to that, though, don't forget, guys, you're here being paid to train today, so take advantage.
Yeah.
You know, if you're walking away from this training thinking, oh, I don't really know how to make a mango chili margarita, that's on you. Get behind that bar, pick up those shaking tins,
Make it happen.
get those cocktail batches, and crack into it till you know that when you come in tomorrow, you're going to smash it.
100%.
So that's pretty much all from us here, guys. Don't forget, cocktail parties aren't just supposed to be fun for the people attending them, it's supposed to be fun for you as well. You know, sitting behind the bar pouring beer and wine is nowhere near as fun as mixing up amazing cocktails for people. And this system is designed to set you up the same way you would be in a professional, really high standard cocktail bar. You've got the prep, you've got the know-how, you've got the training. It's all yours, it's all in your hands now. Just go and smash it.
So thank you for your time, team. We really appreciate it. And we hope that you had fun.
Oh, here's
Cheers.
one we made earlier. Cheers.
Cheers. Cool, I think that's enough.
We're good?
Yeah.
Damn, that is a tasty drink. Let's go.